Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I believe we are live. I think we're good. I'm going to jump into going live. Okay. Just to see if we are live online. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Alrighty. I believe we are live and we're going to jump in, guys. We're going to jump in. So I want you to know this, okay? My time is a bit challenged right now. The time that I come on is currently a bit challenged. So I'm going to pull up my chair. Okay. Yep, I knew that was going to happen all right, a little better. All right. So as I was saying, my time is a bit challenged at the moment. So the 7 o'clock, oh my goodness. It worked for a hot minute and it's not working again. My life is it's a moving target, okay? You can try to catch up to me because I'm like a moving target. And so when I started, 7 was fine last month. Everything was good. November got a little challenging. We're gonna go to 7:30, guys, because instead of canceling, I want to go to 7:30. I believe that will be the most ideal right now. As I said, there are lots of changes I'm going through. So I don't know what next month holds. Well, December is like this week. So for December, it's gonna have to be 7:30 because it's not 7 o'clock is not working. January is gonna change again. That I can tell you. January is definitely going to change. And the change I make in January is the change I'm hoping will be for the remainder of the year. All right. I want to be on here. I don't want to cancel. I don't want to go back and be inconsistent. I don't listen. I struggled with consistency because of everything that was being thrown at me. Eventually, you will hear everything and all that's been going on. Eventually, you will hear all of it. But as of now, we just have to survive. We have to make it work. So thanks for your patience with me. And you may still see the 7 o'clock, but we're going to be here at 7:30. All right. And get that out the way. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning to you all. Everything is wonderful, wonderful. Let me do something really quick. All right. Hey, sorry. Y'all. All right. So I say good morning to you all. And I am okay. I'm ready. All right. So please share the broadcast. Let someone know that we're on. I'm going to share the broadcast at the moment. Let somebody know that we have joined. Today we're talking about sexual intimacy. It is some deep stuff, all right? So we don't want to miss it. We're talking about sexual intimacy. See, sexual intimacy is very complex, all right? And we're talking about, especially in marriage, is very complex. It is a sensitive topic, a very sensitive topic in marriage. A lot of the issues that we experience in this area come from so many reasons. So these issues are not like due to one thing, right? they come from so many areas, like so many arenas, so many things influence sexual intimacy. So it's very important that when you're faced with sexual intimacy issues, that you approach it with empathy. Okay, empathy is important. You need to have open communication. You need to really be willing to work together as a couple. It's so important. So I want to talk about some factors that influence or some factors that affect sexual intimacy. These factors are obviously affecting it negatively. These factors are playing a role in the way you are intimate with your spouse. And these are important to talk about. All right. They contribute to lack of sexual intimacy. So, of course, communication seems to be the top reason and the top problem in every marriage. Communication and the lack thereof, right? So, communication and the lack thereof. You need to have, okay, open communication about the sexual issues that's going on. Like, really honestly talk about what are your reservations? What are the issues you're experiencing in your marriage that maybe you're not talking about it? So it's kind of creating resentment, and it is spilling into other areas of your marriage, right? So sometimes you just have to say, because it creates discomfort, right? It creates fear. You don't want to hurt your spouse. You don't want to offend your spouse. But regular conversation about these issues, it will actually help you bridge whichever gap you're experiencing. And it will create a level of understanding between the both of you. But if you don't talk about it, then there will be no understanding. There will be no empathy. There will be no, the other person can't offer you support. You have to be honest and openly talk about things. And you, the other spouse, both spouse, you have to create a safe space for both of you to be comfortable enough to express how you feel without feeling like you're going to be judged. Okay? So let's talk about this. So know that we talked about abuse and how trauma, a lot of people have been abused in their past. A lot of people have been molested. All those things play into your sexual intimacy, because what your past does is remind you, even though this time is you wanting to have sex, you think about the time somebody forced themselves on you. You think about when you were taken advantage of. You think about, so, not just when you were younger. There are people that were old enough to consent and they were taken advantage of, and they couldn't talk about it. Okay. So you want to be mindful of those things. But if you don't open up to your spouse and let them know that I have reservations about a certain position, a certain thing that you want me to do, and the spouse will not know. They won't know why you're reluctant about certain things. So we'll get there. I don't want to jump. If I start talking about that, I'll go off tangent. If I start talking about positions in marriage, I'll go off tangent. So let me talk about the stuff up front, and then we can go back and talk about some of these things. So again, communication is crucial. And the way we live, our lifestyle actually impacts our sexual intimacy, like the amount of sex we have, the energy we have, the willingness to have sex, your lifestyle. So when you're working, certain shifts mess with your sexual intimacy. So if you and your spouse work opposite shift, one works night shift, one works morning shift, that's going to mess with your sexual life. I'm telling you listen, we've done the night and day. I can tell you it messes with your sexual life. And, we had to really be intentional about meeting, right? Intentional about getting together. But it was never convenient, because who wants to wake up at 4:00 in the morning? Although morning sex truly is the best, all right? But like early morning. But at the same time, one person is in their deep sleep and the other person is waking. it's hard. Like the off schedules are the off schedules they just don't work. Okay. So if at all possible, the body was made, okay, the body was made to sleep at night. The circadian rhythm was set up so that you sleep at night. But because we have a world to run and things run 24/7, and some people in the medical field end up with night shifts, and so many others, production fields, end up with night shifts, it makes it hard for our bodies to be aligned, and it makes it difficult, even when it comes to bearing children and trying to get pregnant. It becomes difficult. There's no doubt about that. And long distance relationships, my goodness, please. Long distance relationship, maybe your spouse is there, but they travel for work and they stay there 2 days or 3 days. All those things come against your sexual life. All those things come against your sexual life, your lifestyle, the level of stress you endure during the day. It can impact how much you're able to do because you're tired. You're prioritizing time to just rest instead of getting together, because having sex requires energy. And if you lack energy, how can you, and there are most people don't really work out, like myself. I'm going to be honest. I don't work out at all. But the only workout I get is in sex. Okay. All right. So if I don't do enough of that, then I'm just going to be sitting here tired and, so you have to make sure that you're intentional about your physical health and your ability to really stay active. When you're active at the gym or at home or whatever, it actually helps your sexual life. But again, because of our lifestyles and you're busy and you're running around, if you don't work out, sex becomes a chore. It becomes a chore because it's like doing push-up. You're like, I don't feel like doing no push-up. So it becomes a chore. You don't want it to be the case. All right. So you have to be intentional about your lifestyle, the things that you prioritize, save some of that energy for the bedroom. Don't use all of it in the kitchen, cooking all day, and then you're tired at night. You got to balance out your energy. All right. Sometimes people have chronic pains, physical pain that they feel. Sex is painful. All right. Sex is painful, whether in your private area, whether in your belly area, you name it. Medical conditions that make sex painful. It can affect your sexual intimacy. Pregnancy can affect your sexual intimacy. I tell women, I say, look, pregnancy is the only time you can have sex, anytime, whenever, however. So please don't get pregnant and now go on a sabbatical, because a lot of women get pregnant. They don't want to have sex anymore. I can never understand that. They're worried about the baby. They're worried about this. They're worried about that. They're nauseous. So many excuses. But pregnancy is your free card. I said pregnancy is the only time in your life you're just like, you have full permission to go crazy anytime you feel like it. But unfortunately, a lot of women use pregnancy as a sickness, as a condition, and now they can't have sex. So imagine you're pregnant, you're not having sex. You have a baby, 6 weeks, you can't have sex. Or 2-3 weeks, you can't have. Even if you have natural birth, please don't go doing anything so early, because you can give yourself an infection. All right. So even that's a problem. Even that's a problem. So don't make something that is supposed to be fun, like pregnancy, turn into a curse by not being available for sex. All right. All right. So high levels of stress, busy schedules, different lifestyles, all of that impact your sexual intimacy. So we're talking about sexual intimacy as a problem in marriage, as a problem. The other thing is also your libido can be different. Everybody can have different libidos. So they say men have a higher sex drive than women. I don't think that's necessarily true. It depends on the stage of life that you're in. But there are women with high sex drives and there are men with low sex drive. So it's really dependent on the individual. All right. So there are differences in our sexual desires. And women, again, because women have so many things on their list. I mean, listen, that's the reality. And that it doesn't speak against men. It just says that women, we're the caretakers. So you're taking care of people at church, you're taking care of people at home, you're taking care, women take care of themselves last. So when it's time to have sex, she may still be thinking about the dishes. When it's time to have sex, now she's trying to recuperate. It's really her me time. And now you want to infringe and come and have sex. So it may seem like an excuse, but because of the lifestyle women live, you know, running around the children, cooking, cleaning, doing all of that, culturally, because of the roles that women play. That's why I talked about, if you alleviate your wife of all these cultural expectations, then both of you can really enjoy each other. So if your wife is tired, you're not going to have sex. Like it's you're not going to have enough of it, because her excuse is always going to be, I'm tired, I'm worn out. So you want to be mindful of your daily activities, because those daily activities actually play into the bedroom. People don't want to hear it. But when I say you make love to a woman's mind, it's because the woman's mind needs to be clear. The woman's mind needs to be completely empty to be able to sit and really enjoy sex. Because she may even have sex and not come, because now she's having sex and her mind is somewhere else. So she's having sex and she's not really giving her all, so she can't orgasm. All right. Is this a morning topic? Probably not, but we're going at it. All right. So stress, we talked about that. Physical health, we talked about medical conditions, things that impact chronic pains and hormonal imbalance. So many women experience hormonal imbalance, and that hormonal imbalance messes with them. You know, it impacts them. They're not able to really, they're too dry, they can't get wet. It's just a whole lot. So it makes sex difficult and painful. And sex is not, they don't look forward to sex because it's a whole lot of everything, and it's not enjoyable to them. And we talked about how past trauma can also impact their ability to let go and really enjoy sex. All right. These are things that I wanted to mention that really impact sexual intimacy. There's also the religious aspect of things and the cultural aspect of things. So maybe growing up, you're being told, don't have sex, don't have sex. Like I remember when I was growing up, I was told, don't have sex. Nobody told me what sex was. Nobody told me, oh, don't get pregnant. I'm like, how do I get pregnant? Nobody want to talk to you about sex, but they tell you don't get pregnant. So whatever it is, you've been told your whole life, don't do. At least for the women. Men had a little bit more freedom. But for the women, don't do. Then you get married and they say, do. And you struggle with it because you have to tune your mind. And God forbid you got married. When I say God forbid, not in a negative way, but if you got married as a virgin, now that changes the dynamic too. Because again, your whole life, you've had a no sign. Now you have the green light and you don't know how to handle the green light. So you don't know how to really get used to and enjoy or really learn this thing. So sex requires education. And some of us, we don't want to be educated. We don't want to learn. Sex requires you to be educated. When I say educated, you need to learn about sex, learn about yourself, and learn about your spouse. Because a lot of the sexual issues, it's not that somebody's bad in bed, it's that you don't know what pleases them. Do you understand? Or what pleases you? There are some men that are used to, I want to press your nipple and then I want to go straight in. Nipple doesn't work for everybody. Do you understand that? Some things just don't work for some people. So maybe, like I said, men have some kind of sexual proneness, like men hit their sexual peak in their late teens to their 20s. Men in their 20s, early 20s. Hey, you meet a man in his early 20s, the energy that man carries. So because men have sex very early, by the time they hit 30, they're tired. Some men, by the time they hit mid-30s, they are completely tired. Okay? No, so 40s is not the new 30s. It's a lie. because in their 40s, a lot of men don't perform well. Because remember, the men have been going at this for a while. They've been at this. You meet a teenager, 14, 15-year-old, the energy they carry. And then when they're in their 20s, they have so much energy. But then by then, they're also better in bed, right? If they started early, but their 20s, they're better in bed. So they want to lay anything and everything. And at this point, they can't commit to a relationship, but they want to lay. The laying is the priority. So they meet anybody, they want to show you, hey, I will move your waist. I can manage your waist for you. And that is the quality they carry in the relationship. Okay. So the question is, if we were all to wait before marriage, would this help? If both the man and the woman were both virgins, there won't be a problem. Part of the dissatisfaction in marriage is that the man has been exposed, very exposed. So when he meets a woman that's a good girl, he struggles with it. Maybe the man wants oral sex. The woman is like, what do you mean? This one is for food. I can't put this in my mouth. Do you understand? And the woman is like, no, I'm not doing this. And there are women who will not do it. Do you understand? There are women who will just not do it. And if they have not been exposed, they're not spoiled as women, they will say no and they won't do it. But because a lot of the men have been testing and trying and doing all kinds of things, they get upset and now they are looking for the one that will just give them head. They're looking for the one that will just have sex with them and give them oral sex. That in itself is also dangerous. So when I say you need education, both of you need to sit and really agree on something and talk about it. What does oral sex mean to you? Is this a problem like because of where you came from? Is it a problem because maybe you experienced something when you were younger? Talk about it. And if you're both comfortable with it, then that's what you do. But there needs to be some kind of agreement because this is something, it's very intimate. And you don't want to do something that the person doesn't like or doesn't want, or that would traumatize them each time you do it. So that's what happens in a lot of relationships. And so if you're both virgins, you're both learning each other. If nobody drove anything, some of the women too, they've been around. Some of the women too, they've been around. So they meet a really, really good guy and they say, he's not good in bed. So now you're dissatisfied, you go back to your ex. I actually know quite a few women who went back to their ex, who were married. They left and went to get married to a good man, left the bum, went back to the bum for the sex, and now ended up pregnant. And now you have shamed yourself, shamed your marriage, and your marriage is now broken. See, sex, as I talked about it before, sex is a weapon. The enemy uses sex as a weapon. So adultery happens because the enemy wants to make you feel like your wife is not giving you enough sex, your husband is not good in bed, and then you end up going back to commit adultery. When you are single, sex is a weapon because it tells you you're missing something. Go have sex, go have sex, go have sex. So the enemy uses sex as a pun, as a bait, and puts it and waves it in front of you. When you're not married, you are horny. When you get married, you get dry. Did you hear what I said? When you're single, you're dry. You're completely dry. I mean, when you're single, you're horny, like constantly you want to have sex. The minute you get married, you can hardly even feel like having sex. So it's an attack of the enemy. The enemy uses that against your marriage and makes you feel like you don't get enough of this, the person is not good enough, and then will bring somebody in front of you that seems to be sexy and that seems like they're going to be good in bed. And you know, when people cheat, they actually do extra with the person. You understand that? So when people cheat, you know, if you are very alert, right? If you are very alert in speaking to people who have experienced, they've seen that their spouse actually changes their they experience more, like they become spontaneous, they become more kinky, you know, in talking to people who have experienced it, like I can see my spouse is different. He's adding more flavor. I can see that she's become more like loose because she's tried something new. She has tried something new. So when people try something new, they become a little loose. So if you pay attention, you can always catch the person if they are committing adultery. Okay? So yes, it's unfortunate, but the majority of people have already had sex. So sex will be under attack naturally. So when you lay with people, the reason we say no sex before marriage, I mean, it's biblical, yes. No fornication is biblical. Because you're having sex with all these different kind of spirits, and creating soul ties that you don't need. And those soul ties, the reason you go back to the ex is because it was a soul tie. It was a covenant that you set. And the covenant had no grounds. Marriage gives you grounds. Genesis 2:25 says they were naked, both the men and the women, they were not ashamed. That means they were naked and they can have sex. They were naked and they can get together. They were naked and they can replenish. You see, they had grounds. God gave them permission. But when you don't have legal grounds, legal authority, and you dabble into territories that don't belong to you, the territories, you have to pay a price. And some of the price we pay is that sexual dissatisfaction because you wanted to test something that wasn't yours. So now that thing is chasing after you. You are married with the man God gave you, but you're dissatisfied sexually. So sex can become such a big thing in marriage. It can persist. The issues of sexual intimacy can persist. Listen, get help if you need to get help. Sometimes you just have to talk to a counselor or a therapist about the sex life. There are things that, beside the chores and all those basic things, sometimes your spouse may not necessarily be kept clean. I'm talking about cleanliness. I'm talking about what? Cleanliness. Cleanliness is important. The woman needs to be extra, extra clean. Because the way our body is set up is too much. You understand? Without being graphic, you have to be clean as a woman. And you don't need to douche to be clean. Those things too is not good for you. But you have to take care of yourself. Eat well, drink water, take care of things inside so that your body will cleanse itself and be very clean. You understand? Yeah. And the men, please take a shower, shower, clean yourself, and always wash your hands before sex. Yeah, wash your hands, take a shower, those things. If you shower, you don't need to wash your hands. But if you don't shower, please wash your hands at least. All those things impact sex because if you're not kept, maybe you have bad breath, and those things, your spouse may be reluctant to tell you that I don't like the way your mouth smells, because not everybody is bold in that aspect and bold enough to tell you the truth. So you have to be very careful. That's why you need open communication. I can tell you anything, right? That you're playing with my boobs. I don't like it. Maybe you're touching my private area, but you're too rough. You understand? You're too rough. You have to be able to say, hey, your hands, because manly hands are very hard, right? They're not soft. There are not many men who have womanly hands, okay? There aren't that many men who treat their hands and they're soft and there aren't that many men. So naturally, manly hands are manly, okay? They are hard, they are rough. So you have to be a little sensual, a little soft, you understand? You have to learn. That's why you need education. You have to learn these things. And you, the woman, take the hand and show them where to go. I'm teaching, take the tips. Hold their hands, show them where to go. And so you lead them, you guide them. Don't just assume they will know how to. They don't know your G-spot. They don't know. I mean, you teach them those things. You have to learn. Where is the G-spot located? You have to learn that. You have to learn, maybe Google it for today. Where's my G-spot? Google it. Let Google show you where it is. whatever it is. Read nice things that put your mind at ease. I'm not telling you to go watch porn, because porn is actually a negative downside, a negative behavior when it comes to sexual intimacy. There are lots of men that are engaged in porn, and the porn actually impacts their ability to, be drawn to you. So if the men has to watch pornography before they get with you, it's not you that's turning them on, it's the porn. So you don't want that too, right? So that can be a huge detriment. So don't engage, don't introduce pornography in your relationship. Don't do it. There's no way watching somebody else have sex will turn me on. Like, no. So whatever it is, you have to be able to sit back and say, if this is what we are introducing in our marriage, maybe we need to pull back and just not get engaged. Because mentally, men get stimulated with their minds. So if they have to be stimulated by another woman, it doesn't favor you as a woman. And vice versa. If you need to see a different kind of men for you to be enticed, then you're not attracted to your spouse. And that's why it's so important to be attracted to the person you're with. That when they see you naked, they can pass by like you're not there. No. If they see you naked, something must happen. Whether they're late to work or not, something must happen. So if your sex life is just kind of dull, you need spontaneity. You need to be spontaneous. I said, book a room in the hotel. I said that before. Book a room one night, just book it and go off. Because sex at home and sex outside is not the same. Why a lot of people cheat? Because they want excitement. Be excited and go pay for a hotel somewhere and go get excited there. Okay? Be spontaneous. Be new. Revive your sexual life. Maybe it's dead. Maybe it's dying. Resuscitate the sexual life. Maybe you're always laying like this. Today, get up, sit on top. Whatever you need to do. All right? This is Coach Yeboah. Yo, call me, text me, message me, DM me if you have questions. Sex is one of my favorite topics. Today I'm telling it like I'm sleepy. No, I'm not sleepy. I'm very awake. Okay. I'm very, very awake. Okay. So please make sure that you handle the bedroom. Listen, half of the issues in marriage begin in the bedroom. People are sexually frustrated. If you look up the statistics, statistically speaking, how often couples have sex, you will cry. You will cry. Not even once a week. Most couples, like 2 weeks, they haven't touched each other. Some people, months. No, please. You didn't marry to be a virgin. No, please. So people our age, we are young, okay? Men's sexual libido, I said, late teens to mid-20s. They go all the way to their 20s. Women, their sexual peak is in their 30s. Did you hear me? Women sexually peak in their 30s. So, but by the time you're like 20, 35, 37, your husband is like sleepy. You too, you are like, no, get up. Get up. Do you understand? So there's like a 10-year gap in our sexual libido. My goodness. There is a 10-year gap. Men start early, women, we catch up later. Because it takes so long for the woman to learn her sexual prowess. It takes a while. But once she becomes and walks into it, that's all she wants to do. Okay? So because of those changes, okay? So a lot of people say, oh, you marry late. Don't worry. You marry late, you are fine as a woman. Don't listen to the men to rush you to get married. If you marry even in your 30s, you are fine. Because that's where your libido is actually rising. You are fine. Okay? So don't worry about have to be married early. So you marry in your 20s, you struggle till your 30s because at that time, you're trying to find yourself, your priority is somewhere else. And, so if you marry that early, then you have children early. And you're dealing with a whole lot. So me, I'm for marry late. That's me. I got married at 27, but I'm for marry late because when you marry, you are basically saying, I'm switching to become a caretaker. Who wants to start taking care of people early? Don't do it. Live your life, enjoy, and do whatever you have to do. And then Enjoy doesn't mean go be having sex and doing all these. No, no, no. That's not what I'm talking about. Enjoy, like really get to who you are, your purpose, your assignment, find you when you are young, in your 20s. Find you. Don't rush into a marriage and think, I must marry. And then you miss out. You understand? So that's me. I push for marry late, because the realities of marriage, you will be grateful you married late. Even 27 was early. So you won't hear me telling my daughters, go and get married. No, 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 no. They will marry, all right, but they're going to take their time and no pressure. I'm not trying to be a grandmother in my 40s. Like, no, thank you. Yes, allow me, because I have every intention to enjoy myself well into my 50s. So don't bring me baby to come babysit. No, please. Hold on to that. Because I'm not babysitting nobody's baby. Do you understand what I'm saying? I said it. I'm not going to be a young grandmother. No, because I have every intent to enjoy my life when I retire at 40. Okay. All right. So we are done for the day. Please share the broadcast. Let everybody know we were on today. Work on your sexual issues in your marriage. Getting another person doesn't fix your sexual issues. Adultery will not fix it. Cheating won't help you. Flirting with other people, it won't help you. Tell your spouse, I want to enjoy sex. This thing is free now. I want to enjoy. What can we do to enjoy it? What do you need me to do? What can we do differently? Okay? And then have at it. All right? You are blessed. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining. Share the broadcast. Hit the notification bell. Make sure that you subscribe.